everybody, it's Peg, and you may be asking yourself, what is she up to now? Yeah, I've been at it again. So, first thing is, I'm putting away this food wrap. Long story short, we had an incident the other morning just trying to get this stuff in the door. And if you don't know about that, go out and if you're in it, join, or haven't joined already, get into Art Joy of Sharing on Facebook. All those cute little stories I'm adding to that group. So anyway, yeah, try to get into this. The reason I ordered this is because it is thinner than the deli wrap that I have currently. And you know, when I'm collaging, I really don't want something very thick. So you can see this is how thin this stuff is. And I don't know if you can tell. I'll show you the standard. This is the deli wrap that I had been using, and this is the new stuff. And this is about half the weight of this one. So I'm excited to use that. So yeah, I got my box open. It can go in the drawer, and I can start pulling out of that box. But what have I been up to? Yesterday I had a play with some people. Excuse my painty shirt. Yeah, I'm getting ready because over there I've got a canvas that's drying. I've got some stuff going on with that. Yesterday I had a play, but before I tell you about that, I got some happy mail. This is from Mary Roop. She's from Plattsville, Wisconsin, and she sent me some lovely little tags. Aren't these cute? And then dear lady Gina Ahrens, if you don't know about her, check out her YouTube channel. She also has a great group that I'm part of, which is My Year 2017. And she sent a lovely note card also with some tags and some shrink plastic and some of her beautiful feathers. You can get these on her Etsy shop. So be sure and check out her Etsy store because she has great stuff over there, and that's kind of how she supports her YouTube channel, is by the sale of these types of things. She also sent me some of her prototype stencils because she still sells stencils, okay? So here's, excuse I'm not doing a very good job of this. Here is this cute girl. I don't know if you can see that very well. There's a cute girl and another one. And I will be using these in some journal play real soon. Isn't that darling? I love that. And this one here. So 3 stencils. Yay! New stencils for me to play with. I don't know, anybody likes to play with stencils more than I do. All right, so additionally, let me show you. She also sent me, this is a page that I did for Mike Deacon's group. If you don't know about his Facebook group, he has a challenge group, which is Mission Inspiration. I still need to do my pick a stick challenge for the month. Let's see. No, that wasn't Mike Deacon. Duh. Sorry, guys. This was the one that I did for Mike Deacon's group. He has these challenge things listed, and then you just do the step-by-step, and then that's what we do in the pick a stick group also. But this month we've been doing artist trading cards. Artist trading cards, 30 of them. Yeah, and today is 21. So, yeah, I'm all the way up to 21. And if you don't know about that, just use the hashtag on Google or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, because we're all over the place. There's all kinds of artists. It's creeping up on 400 of them I've seen out there so far. So that's kind of cool. And let me think. Okay. The other thing that I did yesterday, if you haven't seen, I gotta move over. I'm not talking to you straight. Where's my camera? Okay, my camera's right there. Okay, so Jerry Bellini has a Facebook group and a YouTube channel, and is part of the My Year 2017 group, and she is on, they rotate that. There's 4 admins in there, and each week a different admin takes the lead. And Jerry and I kind of are a kindred spirit, because she loves beading and metal and all kinds of funky antique things. And so this week she was showing people how to age metal and to create these cool woven metal things. And she was pulling out some metal foil, and I thought, yeah, I've been hoarding some of that way too long. I need to get it out and use it. So I did. I got some foil out, and this is what I made. This is an old Cane Company journal. It's the stand type, so it stands up on your desk and, you know, flips like this. But can you see this? Can you see the foil? Yeah, I used foil and embossing powder and stones, and, you know, got a little bit dimensional, but also got some bling bling. Okay, so that was one of the things I was doing. The other thing I was doing was we were in a hangout, and I had shown, let me show you the piece. I had shown this piece, and I think it was this one. It was either this one or, I don't know, I've got so many of them out here on my desk now. I was having a fun play. But can you see the, I'll put some close-ups. Can you see the texture on that? Can you see the shimmer? Yeah. And some of these actually look like leather. Let me see if I can find one. I don't know. They're just, to me, they're just incredible, because, you know, it's like Tyvek, but you don't have Tyvek. These are pages from a magazine. I guess I used a couple of different magazines. I used a National Geographic. I used a Somerset Studio. And I was playing, and, you know, they were prompting me. They were pushing me. They were saying, Peg, will you try? Okay, now try it this way, and then try it that way. And then they were experimenting too, and you may see some of their experiments on YouTube shortly, or in the group, because they thought this was pretty cool. And so they went and grabbed the products and things that they had on their shelf, and they had a play day. So I'm gonna talk about that. I'm going to bring you down, and I'm going to show you that here shortly. But the other thing I did this week was I had alcohol markers that I had not swatched, and Shell and I were talking about markers and what she had, and, you know, the colors that she had and the things that she was missing. And so we were out shopping. Shh, don't tell anybody we were out shopping. And found a deal on markers, but I thought, before I buy anything, I need to know what it is that I have. And I have my Copics, not very many. I might have 60 Copics, because they're expensive, and I didn't have the money at the time to buy all of that. And I bought the colors that I like. I don't think you need all of the colors. But then I found the Hoohoo Hero markers, and they're alcohol based. And I'll put the links down below, because you may be interested in these markers too. But what I did was I swatched all of that stuff, and I've got these are all Hoohoo Hero, and then I've got a few of the Copic over here, and you know, some more stuff. Yeah, more stuff. And so I now know what colors I have, and I looked at this and I thought, you know, there might be 1 or 2 markers I need, maybe a couple of purple, maybe an orange and yellow or something like that. But overall, I'm not dissatisfied with the colors that I have. That Hoohoo Hero set, I think it had 80 markers in it, and it was very reasonable. I mean, I want to say it was about 40 bucks, but I'll put the link in because it was very reasonable. I mean, anything less than $1 a marker for an alcohol marker, come on, guys. Can we get it any better than that? So, all right, I'm gonna bring it down, and we'll take a look at the process for creating those papers. And that's it for me this month. Be sure and watch for the Pick a Stick Challenge. It'll be coming out the end of the month. Be sure and look for the hashtag Artist Trading Card a Day. That's ATCAD 2017. And whatever social media you're visiting. And give everybody some kind thoughts today. Share some love and let them know how much you appreciate what they're sharing with you. You know, because they do this out of the kindness of their heart. So be kind to them. You know, don't make rude remarks and make them feel like I don't think I ever want to make another video in my life. Share with them all of the things. I've had some awesome things come across from people that I don't know that just, you know, are telling me about the difference that I make in their life. So be kind. And let's get to it. Let's play. Okay, guys, so what I have here is some Fast Prime 2. It's a primer sealer for interior water-based acrylic. And what you want to make sure of is that you get it mixed well. So to that end, you remember those old paint stirrers? Well, I picked up one of these blender things at a garage sale a number of years ago. So I thought, well, instead of getting out the drill and doing all that kind of stuff, let me just use this to blend my paint with. Let's see if I can get it. And if you just get it down to the bottom of the can, it'll suck that paint right up and mix it for you. And how easy is that, right? And then the other thing to be sure of is that you have a bucket of water right here so that you can rinse this thing out once you finish. But I have a canvas. It's got some texture on it. I put some tape and things on it. And this is what I'm going to prime because I want to use some different types of mediums on there. Number one being alcohol. All right. And today, I just thought I'd chat with you while I do a little art. This is a wood panel. I think I got it at Walmart. What's it say on here? It says Art Minds. It's an 8.8 inch by 8.8 inch panel. And what I want to use this for, because it has a lip, I was going to use this for a pour. But I thought I would put some black gesso on the raw wood so it doesn't just soak up everything. And go from there. Now, I've done some pouring before, but it's been a while, and I've got some new products. You know, I've been watching the videos, I've been seeing what everybody's doing, and everybody's having trouble getting the cells. Now, I've heard the pros and cons about using a torch. I'm not afraid of a torch because you know me, I've set paint and alcohol and everything on fire. but I also know that those things can be toxic and probably not the best thing to be going into our lungs. So I'm going to try to do this without lighting anything on fire. I do have a respirator. I'll have to show you my kit for alcohol ink. I just started putting a box together that has, you know, the products and things that I'm going to use. I picked up a bottle of Floetrol. I'm still waiting for my, what is it? Primary Elements? The stuff from Color Art. It's been a month. I know they had a big influx of orders once they saw that stuff on YouTube coming from, and I can't think of her name right now. I'll have to put it in the stuff below. Because she had a discount code, and Patty Tolly was doing it too, and it's like, oh boy, I may never get this stuff. So anyway, I'm just putting some primer on here to kind of coat it and keep all that stuff from soaking right into the wood. And I got a little goober there. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll show you. I'm not too worried about this down here on the bottom because I'm going to be pouring paint right over that. So that's good enough for me. I've got my brayer over here soaking with a baby wipe around it. It's got some Murphy's oil soap on that, trying to clean that mess up, because I use my brayer and I don't always get all the stuff off the surface. So let me set this aside because I'm going to want to mix some paints and things. The other thing I want to do today is let me set this aside. The paints I want to use for that are a bunch of older paints that I've had around. I've got a bunch of those Tim Holtz Ranger paints that have been around forever. Sorry, I got to turn my phone volume off. And so I want to use that stuff up, you know. It's only going to stay on the shelf for so long, and it needs to be gone. I put some stuff on my hands earlier, but I probably rubbed it all off by now. So if you guys do a lot of this kind of stuff with paints and things, you probably want to get some kind of hand protection. And there are better ones on the market. This is just something that I got from Walgreens. And I know there's a lot of things for workman's hands and painter's hands and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a shielding to keep that stuff off of your skin. So the other thing I need to do today is, Shell and I were talking about pens and markers and things. I had gotten this set. This is Hoohoo Hero set of pens. They're alcohol markers. They're very reasonably priced in comparison to all the other markers that are out there. It's got dual tip. You know, it's got your regular swipe marker, broad tip, and then it's got a fine tip on here. And comes in a nice variety of colors, but I have not swatched these, so I don't really know, you know, family-wise what I have. And I need to, I'm going to get another, I've got my Copics up above, but I need to combine this with the Copics that I have, just so that I know what colors I have and if there's anything missing in the range of colors that I'm working with. The other thing I have is I started a journal page. This is a digital art image from Gina Ahrens, and she had sent this to me, and I want to do a page with her. Isn't she darling? But go to her Etsy shop. She has all kinds of cute little digitals that you can purchase. And okay, so alcohol. So this is kind of what I put together. I have a respirator. One of the things that you should have, I have pouring medium. I should probably combine those two bottles. Don't know why I have two bottles. I have Airbrush Medium. I have Flow Aid. I have GAC. This is what you do. You add this to stop the crazing. I have a butane torch. Like I said, I'm going to try not to use this. I have silicone. Not sure I want to use that either because you have to get that off of the surface of your paint somehow before you seal it. So I'm not sure, but what I see everybody using right now is the Floetrol, and I think it has to do with when you're mixing your paints to get a different viscosity in the different layers so that they kind of separate and travel through one another. So I'm going to try mixing some paint. This is just the butane refill. And then this is another one of those trays to be doing the painting in. So I'll probably gesso this up, mix up some paint, and then I'll come back and do something with that. Okay, so I'm back, and I finished cleaning up my brayer. Doesn't that look so much better? A little Murphy's oil soap will help when you're trying to get all those paint layers off. And what I have here are my cups of paint mix that I'm starting to get going here. I'm going to use primary colors, red, yellow, blue, for my mixes. I have started by putting some Floetrol and pouring medium into the cups. And I know I want some white, and I know I want some black. So I'm just going to shake those up. And I'm going to add a dollop of the white. And shake this up. I think this is black. Looks like black. These bottles, oh, it says black soot. Okay, so it's not black, it's black soot. That's okay. I don't care. It'll work. I'm going to put a little dollop of that in my cup. And this is wild honey. And you notice I'm not spending a lot of time measuring this stuff. I'm kind of eyeballing. I have more of the Floetrol than I do of the paint. And these are fairly liquid paints to start with. This is Festive Berry, but I've had them for a while. They're about they're more than half empty, so I figure I need to finish using them up. And then a little bit of this Broken China. And I had two of these, so I should probably combine my two into one. And then clean this out so I have a bottle that's clean. We were just talking about cleaning bottles and things. I don't know about you guys, but I get online with my buddies and we chat about what's going on with products and what's in the industry and what works and what doesn't work. And one of the things that we're finding are the spray bottles all seem to be clogging. I had just gotten some of these Marabou sprays in the mail, and of course they didn't tape the lid down, so they'd broken open and spilled all over. And so I had to contact the manufacturer, not the whoever was shipping it to me. I had to contact them and say, hey, you know, you need to send me some bottles, because this was the gold spray bottle and it was pretty much empty. So what I did was I cleaned the bottle out and the spray nozzle out, and I filled this up with water. So that when I use these sprays, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one off of here, put it on the bottle that I have sprayed, and this is clean going on that one. Then I will take the one that is dirty, put it onto the water-filled bottle, and spray it until it runs clear. That way I can keep the flow on these going. Many of these products you'll find have some problems. Glossy accents is one everybody complains about, how it clogs up. So what I did is I found this bottle at Hobby Lobby, and it has a lid that comes down and sits right over that little nib on the tip, and it is a real secure seal, so that works for me, because yeah, I'm one of those who was always trying to open up my glossy accents. Now the pigment in this is not quite as bright as I would like, but we'll see once I get those others mixed up whether I want that darker or not. This is the Festive Berries. And even that is a little bit muted, but it's a pretty color. I think as far as this goes, I want to add, this is a little bit of that Marabou. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to add a little of this Marabou. Ooh, and I got it into the white. Oh, yeah, of course I did. But there's not enough there to worry about, so I'm just going to mix that in. And I'm slopping all over. Mix a little of that in there. And you know what else I want in that? I want to get some, hold on. I want to add just a drop of this Dinah. Pepio has this blue-green mix that I really like, so I want to see if I can get a little iridescence going in that pour. So I'm just going to add a dollop of that. See if I can not make a mess of that one. And see if I can get a little iridescence running through my mix. Now that looks just a little bit thicker, which is okay because I want the viscosity of these things to be not all the same, because what happens is they tend to move through the layers of paint, or at least that's what I'm seeing happen. Like I said, I've only done a few pours in the past, but you know me, I'm willing to experiment. So anyway, if you guys have an ear or have a contact with one of these companies that produces these different products, let them know that we're having trouble with the caps, and you know, maybe they need to ship it with a regular cap and put the spray on the side so that, you know, we can choose to store it with a regular cap and wash those sprayers out so that we're not always running into a problem. Just my 2 cents worth on the whole thing. Okay, so that's that one. I got one more to go, which is the black. And we'll see what we get here. Now, I've seen this done with several different things. Some use alcohol, some use a silicone. I don't think I want to use the silicone, but the first pour I'm going to do with just a drop or two of alcohol. And I get these pipettes from Hobby Lobby. How many's in here? 25. There's 25 in here for $5, and you can use a coupon, where I know you can get them from other companies, but they're not that cheap. So I'm going to get some alcohol with my pipette. I'm just going to put a couple of drops in each of these, and we'll see what that does. Okay, so let me stir that in. Get things, I think it's key that you get all that stuff mixed into your paint. It might take a little time to stir it up, but you want to make sure that you've got a good mix. And I need to get I'm going to do a pour, so I need to get a cup to put my pour into. And I've got 2 of those frames ready to go. So this first one I'm going to do without the silicone. And this is the tray that I've prepared to accept my pour. And I'm going to start with a little bit of white in the bottom. And then the blue. And a little red. And yellow. Going back to the white. And a little blue. And a touch of black. Now I'm going to flip this over. Let it sit for a minute so it all drips down. And I used some of that gack in there just to keep it from crazing. So might have to sit a while. Although I'm not gonna use a torch. Alright, papers. So these are the two types of magazines that I altered. People were asking what kind of paper it was. This is just, you know, something out of National Geographic. You want something, or I did anyway, I wanted something with some color on it, because originally what I had thought was I was going to alter this the same way you do with Citrusol, where it moves the ink. Well, this is from April of 2006, and I know the older ink types that they used in these, you could move with Citrusol. I don't know if that's true any longer. I don't have any Citrusol to try it with, but I have done that technique. It was Claudine Helmuth that taught me how to do that originally. And so Somerset, you know, find something out of here that's colorful, you know, and look at the texture in here. It's got a lot of nice texture, and pick something like that to do your alteration on. Now, what I used to do this, sorry for the glare, I don't know if I can fix that or not. Okay, is I'd gone to the Dollar Tree, and I picked up this totally awesome Oxygen Orange. It's an all-purpose degreaser, because I thought, well, that's kind of like Citrusol, and I thought, well, let's give that a try and see how it works. The other thing that I used two different types of spray acrylics. One I used was the Marabou, and the other I used was the DecoArt Media. So I don't know that it makes a difference on the type of spray acrylic. I know that other people had tried using other types of degreasers, and they did not all work. So I just want you to be aware of that. So I'm going to pull out, let's see, I've got a yellow and a green. I don't know what color, this says plum. Okay, so I'm going to pull out some of those colors, and I've got two different types. I've got the Marabou and the DecoArt Media sprays. Whoops. Okay, so what I want to do is saturate the paper with the degreaser, and I'm going to put on some gloves, just because I do that when I make messes, because I don't want to have to always be having that stuff all over my hands. And let me see if I can get in here a little bit closer so you can see. I'm rubbing that in to make sure it saturates the paper fiber. Normally, if you had done this with Citrusol, it would be moving that ink now, but you can see that with this degreaser and on this particular paper, it's not moving. The image is still there. So I'm just going to take some of these sprays, make sure I'm not pointing it at my face, and I want to clean that off. Be sure if you're using acrylic sprays that you clean your nozzles. And might be making mud, but I like brown. I'm going to use a little of this green. And then this one actually has some shimmer to it, so let's see if I can get a little shimmer shine going on. Of course, I've already sprayed clear out here. Okay, so that's distorted the picture, it's on there now, so I'm gonna do a heat tool. Okay, so this is the piece that I just made. You can see this is the back of the paper. You can see how crinkly and crumply it gets. And you see it has almost like a leathery texture to it. You see all that texture in there? I just think it's a cool effect. Looks like old worn leather, or, you know, think about dragon scales, or, yeah, pretty cool stuff, right? Yeah. So anyway, I've done it with several different colors and several different pages. This was the National Geographic, and this was a Somerset page with different colors on it. And then they'd asked me to do one with just the spray and not putting the color acrylic on it, so I did one. It did crinkle some, however, the cracks are not as big as what I got. You know, the textural part of it was not as big, but play with what you have and see what you get. Let me know. Then they asked me to do one on just a text one where it didn't have a lot of color in the background, and so I did that. So here's one with just, you know, the text part of the newspaper, or magazine page. This one, somebody will have to remind me what we were doing on this one. Oh, they'd asked me to do half where I just used the spray and half where I'd put some of the acrylic on. And you can see this part crinkled, this part did not. Here's another National Geographic page with lots and lots of texture, more pages, more colors. I mean, we just had a good time playing here. You see all these cool papers. I mean, these can be die cut, they can be used as backgrounds. Here, Ian had said, put a stencil on it and see what happens. So, you know, I sprayed through the stencil, and you can see that, yes, you can spray through the stencil, but it's not gonna all crinkle up like the other one, because it's only gonna hit those areas where the stencil lived, okay? And then he said, well, what about photo paper? And so I had some photo paper that was about the same weight as the magazine pages, and so I tried the sprays on photo paper just to see what that effect would be. And yeah, it's pretty, but it doesn't crinkle. You know, it doesn't, I mean, you can see this is the back side of the photo paper. This has the gloss on this side. So this one I did on the back side of the photo paper, and this one has it on the front side of the photo paper. So we played, we experimented, we tried all kinds of things. Now you get it hot enough and it starts to shrink up just because there's a plasticized coating on here, but in order to do that you almost burn it. So just be aware that that's probably not the best paper to do this with. And you know, why waste photo paper when you've got these kind of results from old magazines, right? I mean, I think this is just cat's meow. Cool beans, right? So, the other thing that people had asked me about, this fish that I had used, koi fish that I'd used on this book, is Hero Arts die. It's a two-part die. It's got the inside and the outside. You can see here there's the fish without, and so you could put any kind of texture plate on that you wanted to, and here it is where it's embossed and cut. And what I did is I did it as an inlay. I used a embossing folder, and I cut out a piece and cut out the fish, and then I inlaid the other color into that. So yeah, I think that's about it for today, guys. I hope you still have some wind to go make something fun for yourself, and have a great day.